Continuation of Chapter 2. Clement XII, Excommunication of Freemasons. Here is the text of the letter of Clement XII. Quote, "Raised by divine providence to the highest degree of the apostolate, seconded incessantly by divine grace, we intend to bring our attention to bear with all the zeal of our solicitude upon that which can help conserve the integrity of orthodox religion, and, by barring entrance to errors and vices, banish from the Catholic world in these difficult times all dangers of disturbances." End quote. The popes of old knew how to be clear and simple. They said that they were pastors and wanted to protect the flock. Against what? Against errors and vices. Consequently, they denounce errors and proclaim the truth of the Church. Nothing could be clearer. One felt safe with such shepherds who were not afraid to say, "Watch out! Avoid this, avoid that. There lies danger. Walk according to the truth of the Church." Such language is unknown now, especially since Pope John XXIII. Before him, Pius XII wrote a strong and magnificent encyclical against the errors of modern times, Humani Generis, 1950. Since then, it would seem that there are no more modern errors. It is as if, because there are elements of truth even in the errors, along with the grain of apparent truth, the error that covers it is swallowed, and the flock is poisoned. Clement XII's letter continues, quote, "It has become known to us, even in truth by public rumor, that great and extensive progress is being made by, and strength daily increasing of, some societies, meetings, gatherings, conventicles, or lodges, commonly known as Freemasons, or some other nomenclature according to difference of language, in which men of all religions and sects whatsoever, content with a certain affectation of natural virtue, are associated mutually in a close and exclusive bond in accordance with laws and statutes framed for themselves, and are bound as well by a stringent oath sworn upon the sacred Bible, as by the imposition of heavy penalties to conceal under inviolable silence what they secretly do in their meetings." End quote. The definition is magnificent. Note the elements. Firstly, men, quote, "of all religions," who affect, quote, "an appearance of natural virtue." That is, they pretend to be philanthropists, passing themselves off as the friends of the people, of progress and society. This has not changed. They still have a secret pact which binds them under severe penalties, even death, as was to be learned later on, to an unbreakable silence. It is impossible to learn exactly what is plotted in these societies. Absolute secrecy is maintained. The popes have emphasized this fact. Things accomplished in such a manner can only be evil. If good things were being done, there would be no reason for it not to be done in broad daylight. Clement XII evokes the grievances the Church has against these societies. Firstly, the suspicions that are raised in the minds of the faithful. Quote, "But since it is the nature of wickedness to betray itself, and to cry aloud so as to reveal itself, hence the aforesaid societies or conventicles have excited so strong suspicion in the minds of the faithful that to enroll oneself in these lodges is quite the same, in the judgment of prudent and virtuous men, as to incur the brand of depravity and perverseness." End quote. Thus, the Pope relies somewhat on public opinion. The prudent and honorable faithful deem that something wicked goes on in these societies. Quote, and this repute has spread to such a degree that in very many countries the societies just mentioned have been proscribed, and with foresight banished long since, as though hostile to the very safety of kingdoms. End quote. At that time, actually, the states were Catholic. The princes decided to forbid these secret societies. The Pope, one sees, bases his judgment on what he has learned from persons who are in contact with these societies, and so he proclaims, quote, we accordingly, turning over in our mind the very serious injuries which are in the highest degree inflicted by such societies or conventicles, not merely on the tranquillity of the temporal state, but also on the spiritual welfare of souls, and perceiving that they are inconsistent alike with civil and canonical sanctions, being taught by the divine word that it is our duty by day and night, like a faithful servant and a prudent ruler of his master's household, to watch that no persons of this kind like thieves break into the house, and like foxes strive to ravage the vineyard, that is to say, thereby pervert the hearts of the simple, in order to close the wide road which might be opened thereby for perpetrating iniquity with impunity, and for other just and reasonable causes known to ourselves, have determined and decreed that these same societies, meetings, gatherings, lodges, or conventicles of Freemasons, or by whatever other name called, herein acting on the advice of some venerable brethren of ours, cardinals of the Holy Roman Church, and also of our own motion, and from our certain knowledge and mature deliberation, and in the plenitude of apostolic power, should be condemned and prohibited, as by this present Constitution we do condemn and prohibit them. Wherefore we direct the faithful in Christ, all and singly, of whatever status, grade, dignity, and preeminence, whether laymen or clerics, as well secular as regular, strictly and in virtue of holy obedience, that no one, under any pretext or far-fetched rationale, dare or presume to enter the above-mentioned societies of Freemasons, or otherwise named, or to propagate, foster, or receive them whether in their houses or elsewhere, and to conceal them, or be present at them, or to afford them the opportunity or facilities for being convened anywhere, or otherwise to render them advice, help, or favor, openly or in secret, directly or indirectly, of themselves or through the agency of others, in whatever way, but in every particular to abstain utterly as they are in duty bound from the same societies, under pain of excommunication. End quote. Such is the first document. Clement XII was worried by the secret actions taking place in these societies. Therefore he excommunicated those who went. And yet this letter, one can also say this bull, of 1738, did not suffice. Rumors spread after the death of Clement XII, according to which the condemnation decreed during his lifetime was no longer valid as long as it was not confirmed by his successor. This is what makes Leo XII say, quote, this bull did not seem sufficient for our predecessor of happy memory, Benedict XIV. End quote.